It's a Drive Time News Hour, and it's 72 degrees. Jack Sunday here, and I'm so pleased to have made connection with and to talked with Dick Beardsley yesterday, and he agreed to be with us today. Dick Beardsley is a very well-known runner, marathoner. Heck, he's won some of the best. He won the London Marathon and the 1982 Boston Marathon. I can still see it. Alberto Salazar beat him by 2 seconds. And the most famous 2 seconds runner that I know. And we have Dick Beardsley, who is also a motivational speaker, and he's a fishing guide and works hard at that. Dick, welcome to KFGO.
Hey, Jack. Thank you so much for having me on. And, I wish it was under better circumstances, but, things happen in life, that's for sure.
Well, don't we know it? And the reason we're going to talk with Dick is because his friend and everybody's friend, Mark Knutson has passed away. He died in a bicycling accident in Detroit Lakes on Sunday, and I felt a shift in the universe when that happened. What is your connection? How long have you known Mark Knutson?
So, Jack, Mark has been a friend of mine for over 20 years. In fact, 20-some years ago, Mark called me up and he goes, Beard, I'm thinking about putting on a half marathon, kind of test the water, see if we get many people to come out. He said, could you come over the night before? We're going to have a little pasta dinner and give a little talk. I said, oh, Mark, I'd love to. So I went over there, gave a little talk to not a lot of runners. And next morning, they put on this half marathon in Fargo, and it went pretty good. And Mark was testing the waters because it was shortly after that he made that big plunge into putting on the Fargo Marathon that will be its 20th year coming up this next May. And it's turned into a unbelievable, incredible event that draws thousands of runners to the Fargo-Moorhead area. And I tell you, Mark was a very good friend. He bought the Dick Beardsley races in Detroit Lakes about 10 years ago. And the folks in Detroit Lakes put on a great race, all the volunteers. But when Mark took it over, it definitely went up a number of notches. And I'm going to miss Mark terribly. He was a very good friend, and he's going to be missed by many, many people all over the country. I've gotten calls from all over, doing interviews from all over the country, asking me about Mark. So he was very well known, and we got to keep that legacy going for a long, long time.
What vision he had. Let me ask you maybe a inside marathon question. How do they measure the route? I know they don't take, a tape measure out, and mark every yard or something. How is that done for official purposes?
Yeah, so Jack, you have to hire a certified person that is certified to measure courses. And what they normally do, they have a wheel that they either walk it, run it, or now they also make them so they can put on a bicycle, and they're super accurate. And they'll measure that course 2 to 3 times, and they'll do all the tangents, because when you measure a course, any place there's a turn, you got to, make sure that you're measuring where a runner can cut the corners as close as they can. So you got to measure it like that. They do that 2 or 3 times, and then they get it certified. And then on a certified course, then you can qualify for like the marathon trials, the Boston Marathon, other races that require a qualification on a certified course. So it's a big deal, and it's a lot of work to do.
It came up because we were talking and have talked about all the minutiae, the tiny details of that. So what happened, do you suppose, when we had a flood and there were sandbags and the route had to be altered? Did they bring that company in again to add those extra 1.5 miles, or how does that work, do you suppose?
Yes, absolutely, Jack. And Mark, I'll tell you, Mark was meticulous in making sure any course he set up was spot on. I mean, you didn't have to run a foot longer or a foot shorter. It was spot on. So when things like that happen, yes, you got to get another person, a certification, or to come back in, redo the course. And, a lot of runners think, well, how hard is it to be a race director? You put a starting line here, a finish line there, and you blow the horn and off they go. Let me tell you, I was a race director one time for a small 10K race, 30 some years ago. And I thought, I'm never doing this again. It's a lot of work. And of course, it's a lot of headaches. And, people wear these watches now that have GPS on them, and they'll come into the finish and go, well, the course was long. It was 13.4 miles, not 13.1. And so you got to put up with all that kind of stuff. And, and of course, Mark always did that with a smile on his face.
Yeah, I can't imagine his calm demeanor when there was so much pressure on him. I don't know if there were behind-the-scenes events that I've never heard about, but I never saw him anything but very meticulous about the planning, about the promotion, and all of the details. And it's just amazing. And let me ask you one more question, Dick. Did you ever run in the Fargo Marathon?
Yes. In fact, so when Mark had the first one, he brought me in as a speaker, and I ran the half marathon. Then the 10th anniversary, they brought me in as a speaker, and I ran the half marathon again. And then I talked to Mark 8, 9, 10 months ago, and he goes, Beards, we're bringing you in again to speak at the 20th anniversary. So I'm hoping that still works out, and I'll probably run the half marathon again next May out at Fargo. It's a wonderful event. The community of Fargo-Moorhead supports it like no other, and I think this next year's race and the Beardsley races in Detroit Lakes coming up in September are going to be bigger and better than ever before because of Mark. People are going to want to come out to these races and support Mark's legacy.
Well, Beard, I hope we meet next May. Meet again. It's
absolutely, Jack.
A pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, and good fishing to you too, by the way.
Hey, thanks, Jack. I appreciate it, buddy. Take care.
23 minutes after 5 o'clock.